I
Yes,
didn't know
people.
what Bitz was for.
Yeah. So what? It's your boy Bitz and Bobz. Yes, people. Atletico Madrid against Chelsea, and the only two people I could probably talk to about this is girl like Kendall and obviously man like Monster in the building. First of all, obviously, we have to salute the lady in the building. Kendall, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Are you really though? Are you really?
I
Do
am.
you think you're gonna win?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think so?
I'm
Okay.
pretending that I'm pretending that I'm confident, but I'm really not.
And obviously, man like Monster in the building. Obviously,
Yo,
CFC and that.
man?
What we saying?
Listen, it's a scary game, but the question you gotta ask yourself is, I don't know. I don't know what to say. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Okay, so anyway, right? So obviously, Chelsea take a 1-0 lead. Okay, Kendall, how do you feel about that? I mean, how did you feel about the previous game initially?
The first leg annoyed me a lot because it didn't. Well, I would say it didn't need to be that way, but it kind of did because we just come off the back of there was several first team players injured. So obviously Trippier was still banned at that point for betting. João Felix and Correa just come back from COVID. So all round, it wasn't like the full strength squad. So I knew it was going to be defensive. It just annoyed me that it was 6 at the back, at pretty much half the game. Well, if not 3/4 of the game, it was just, and obviously just a 1-0 is more annoying than anything anyway. But then to have it, because I just feel because 1-0 is avoidable. I know that sounds wild. I know it sounds wild, but when it's 1-0. It's that really didn't need to happen. I would have just rather. Do you know what I mean? I'd just rather it being 4-0, at any one time.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
But obviously, I don't because there's second leg in the Champions League. But I mean, in the league, that's how I normally feel. And then for it to be a wonder goal was really. I said on as well. I was on a couple of streams beforehand, and I said Giroud was the one that I was worried about. Because in La Liga you don't come up against strikers like that a lot, who are physical and have the ability as well. So you just don't. And I was worried about him, and I obviously had a good right to be worried about him. But yeah, everyone's back now. Everyone's back for this leg. There's 0 injuries in Atleti's squad, so that's a good thing for us, I think.
Okay, Monster, we've heard that obviously the players are back. Kendall saying she didn't want to be a 1-0 because they're annoying. What was your thoughts on the first leg?
It's a bit of a weird one because a lot of us weren't necessarily confident, especially during a Frank Lampard time. What was happening with Frank before obviously Lampard was sacked, we were all saying this game's over and done with. We were pissed off that we even got Atletico because we did everything we could to win the group, so we will finally get an easier. Supposedly an easier opponent, but then it turned out we get Atletico Madrid again. So obviously, when the first leg came around and we played them the way we did, I think when we started to play a back three, a lot of Chelsea fans, including myself, started to get a little bit more confident because one thing I've noticed about Atletico Madrid and watching them is that they always struggle against the back three, and Simeone just doesn't know how to set up against the back three. So when what happened. Obviously, including the fact that their players got COVID, injuries as well. So they were missing some key players as well. And João Felix was just coming back from COVID. But even though we did win, Suarez was, kept quiet. I think we were all happy with that result. And now, we come back to Stamford Bridge. We'll see how it gets on from this game going on. You're muted, Bobz.
You're mute.
So that being said, right, tonight is the night. Okay, the 1-0 lead for Chelsea. Kendall, what are you expecting tonight?
To be honest, I'm expecting pretty much more of the same in a sense because I just think I think Simeone and Tuchel they tactically outweigh each other in the way that they set up. So it's not going to be a riveting goal fest. It's not going to be like Juve Porto at all. It's going to be much more the same. I think. In terms of Chelsea, I think Alonso and Christensen both had really good games last time. Rudiger's obviously he's stepped up again now, and the defense is looking really solid, especially in the league. So obviously getting through that is going to be pretty hard. But I think Simeone's obviously in his press conferences has said that he's got one mindset and it's to win this game. Suarez and Felix are both starting. So I'm not entirely sure how he's going to set up, if I'm honest, because last time, obviously, they tried to match the back three, and I hate them playing with the back three. I absolutely hate it. And especially now Trippier's back.
Yeah.
I would just prefer back four, but whether or not he tries and matches the back three, I don't know. I think we're going to try and come out very attacking on the front foot for the first part of the game anyway, trying to get a goal so it's matched. And then I think we'll sit back and just try and counter. But otherwise, I'm excited, but I'm pretty nervous about it as well, to be honest.
After hearing that one star, I mean, are you confident? You know, if they play a back three, you're going to be confident?
They dare not play a back three because it's not something they played with most of the season. That's not their formation. Another thing as well is I've been looking at their recent form. It's not been good. Like, they were 7 points ahead at one point with 2 games in hand. All of a sudden, that's close to, I think, 4 points.
Yeah, it's 4 now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Which means that their form has been very, very patchy. Suarez is starting to maybe slow down a bit. Obviously, Joao Felix is not yet the Joao. I mean, come on, Joao Felix is. I think it was the wrong move anyway to go to Athletic.
100%. Sorry, Kendall, but
I back it 100%.
I mean, I suppose living in Madrid, fantastic, the weather, but I mean, he had that in Portugal anyway. But anyway, yeah, I think he probably thought play well there, you know, another big move. No disrespect to Atletico because they are a big club, but it's just not worked out for him. Sorry, Monster, carry on.
It was never going to work out because if we're being honest, I mean, at the tail end of last season, post-lockdown in Champions League, when Simeone brought him on, who was it against? I think it was against Leipzig when they lost. He looked brilliant in that game, innit? But he just doesn't. He's supposed to be at a Barcelona or Real Madrid where, you know, he can express himself. Whereas with Simeone, they play a defensive structure. You know, it's counter-attacking football as well. It just doesn't suit their game, innit? So, you know, I'm a bit nervous, but I wouldn't say I'm too worried because at the end of the day, now it's time. They have to win. So Chelsea,
yes,
they have to come at us now because we've got the advantage.
The wind is with you guys, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So now they've got to come out a bit and get something. Whereas, so we can go and you know, maybe hit them on a counter attack. And they're not necessarily a team to come out and do what they do. What they do is they sit back, and when it's that perfect timing hits, they hit you on a counter attack. They can't do that in this game anymore because this is a game that they're going to be chasing it. So that's what maybe I have a little more confidence with the fact that them having to come at us to get a win is not necessarily their game. So I think this is where we can hurt a minute. You know, just with that scenario alone.
Kendall, do you know what Monster just said, that like it's not your kind of game to attack and so on? However, you have to go out and score today, right? So, you know, like it kind of, surely the attacking players that you have must be like, yes, we can go forward. We can actually express ourselves. On the back of that, do you still think he's going to be cagey in the sense that he might, you know, not commit too much so early on?
Well, I think it's going to be the opposite. Just what I'm going off press conferences. Just unless it's a tactical thing, and he's saying this, and it's going to be the opposite, if you know what I mean. But just because I think obviously they need a goal to settle the game down and just obviously make it easier. Which unfortunately in the league we've been conceding first a lot. Especially of late, we've been conceding first and then winning like 2-1, but you can't afford to do that at this point because obviously it's Champions League. It's not, you know, it's the be all and or end all tonight, so you can't afford to do that. So whether or not he is going to go into it cagey, but we can't, because as Monstar said, we're chasing the game at this point, so you really can't afford to just sit back and like have damage limitation, because it's just not going to work like that. And especially when the only thing that worries me is that the defense, like Chelsea's defense, is probably the strongest area of the team, especially with like Jorginho and Mason Mount out in midfield. So that's why I'm concerned, and I'm hoping that he plays as many not as many as attacking players, but as many clinical attackers. So like Felix, Suarez, Carrasco, and Llorente. I really hope that them 4 play, because I feel like that's where that will be the best way to attack. And actually, I really don't know how he's going to set up against us in this game, because they've had so many different formations in the league this year because of injuries and stuff. And now everybody's fit. I hope they just kind of revert to the norm. But they're going to have to be set up defensive, and they're going to have to set up it clinically to attack. So I honestly, genuinely don't know how we're going to set up at all tonight. I'll be very curious to see.
It's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it? Because you have to win, and you're not known for attacking football. So I think I'm looking forward to the game. I'm not going to lie. One star. If Tuchel loses today, what does that mean for his Chelsea managerial career?
I don't think it means necessarily anything. Come on, he's only just come in, a month ago? He hasn't even been here long, So I don't think if he loses, he loses. It will be a shame. I would have, really wanted us to get to the quarterfinal. I mean, to me, going to the next round is progress on last season, because it was last season we did get knocked out. Got whooped completely.
I was going to say, you didn't get knocked out, you got spanked. But anyway.
7-1 on aggregate by Bayern Munich. Obviously, Bayern Munich being the best team in Europe by a country mile.
At the time, there's no embarrassment to that, though.
Yeah.
There's no embarrassment getting whooped by Bayern Munich, because they're doing it to everyone.
Yeah, but apart from that, even if he does get kicked out of the Champions League, touch wood, that's not going to happen. I don't think it's anything. As long as he gets top 4, even if he doesn't, even though I feel he should get top 4, I think it's a good season for him anyway, because he's just come in, he's tried, he's done something at least. I mean, if we're being honest, if Frank Lampard was still Chelsea manager, we would probably be fighting with Arsenal and them, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the table,
Brighton and Fulham and them, man. All tight now.
So yeah, I think so far he's done a brilliant job. I mean, we've conceded 2 goals, 1 being an own goal, 2 goals in 13 games. That's unbelievable. Chelsea
still could have beat Man United though, but we moved.
Yeah, I know, but we've got the second best defensive record in the Premier League. So far we're better off than we were last season. I know Lampard was here for most of halfway through this season anyway. Yeah, Mendy's got 12 clean sheets in the Premier League alone. He's got the most clean sheets in Europe, in the Champions League. Bruv, come on, it's mad. It's mad. I can't even sit here and lie. Only thing I would say is we're not scoring enough goals in it. That's the only thing. But that will come,
which is something you can address potentially in the summer transfer window.
Yeah,
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, you've got all these academy players on loan, so you never know. Kendall, for Simeone, if he loses, what does that mean for him, managerial-wise?
I think it'll be okay, because obviously they're still top of the league. So I think at this point it's going to be a case of. I think it's just going to be a case of okay, well, they're going to have the mindset, we're going to just focus on the league. And I normally hate when people say that, but in reality, that's what you've got to do, especially now that the gaps really is closing significantly. I mean, at one point they were 10 points clear. Just before, I don't know if it was just before or just after Christmas. And now obviously Barcelona are there again, who were 8th for ages. Real Madrid's there again. So I think that it's going to be a case of, we can focus on the league now. But then obviously if they get knocked out of the Champions League and then bottle the league as well, it's a bit of a sticky.
What does that mean for him though? Because it could happen, Kendall. The reason I'm asking is because, the last time Atletico Madrid signed a striker, so a player from Barcelona, they won the league, and it was David Villa. So, do you know what I mean? So, looking at La Liga right now, deja vu, Lightning is striking twice. However, Champions League is a completely different competition these days, I think, because I think it's a lot harder now. All the teams are, just as good. And obviously with the COVID season, this is a freak season, so anything can happen. That's why I'm asking you, because if he loses tonight and then he doesn't win the league, is he going to have a question with the board or his agent, or Atletico going to be like, listen, we need to have a chat now because he's in a great position right now. Hindsight is a good thing, but this could be a slump if they get beat. You know how it happens. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's been talk over the past year about him leaving and this possibly being his last season anyway. How true that is, I don't know. I don't know whether that's just rumours because he's been managing us for like a decade now, and in the most part, respectively, he's been pretty successful. I don't mean success in terms of trophies or he's won the most trophies or he's won the most leagues, but in general. Because prior to this year, I mean, it was always just Real Madrid and Barcelona, So we've always been up there, always, qualified Champions League, obviously Europa in other years and won Europa. And so, he's been relatively successful, just hasn't been consistently successful, if that makes sense. Okay. So whether or not it is going to be his last year, I don't know. It could get to a point where it's just not enough anymore. I mean, even in the Premier League on another term, we saw, people like Eddie Howe, where just mediocrity just hasn't been enough and they got relegated in the end. I don't think it's going to go that far, but I mean, when you're trying to compete with, like the big boys and the big managers of the world and everybody's got money now, like needs money to spend on the big players because, I mean, there's even several players in the squad, like Saul, for example, and Jimenez, who have both got over 100 million euro release clauses. Which is like the same for a lot of La Liga players, and plus a lot of La Liga clubs are in serious debt, like really, really serious financial issues. Atleti is another one. They're still paying off their stadium. Their net spend is in the minus by a big, big chunk. So I think it'll completely depend. If they lose both, if they don't obviously get through Champions League any further and then the league's bottled, I think there's probably is going to have to be a conversation, but I don't think that is going to be the reason why he leaves if he does.
Yeah, okay, I get you.
I think it'll just be the case of needing just a fresh idea and to compete again. But I don't think it's it's really on the cards that he is going to leave. But as I say, there has been talk. So
I think for me personally, I hope Atletico do win. Just because I don't like Chelsea, but I am a Real Madrid is my Spanish team. So, but I like Simeone because I love his character. So I don't mind that. I hope he wins the league personally, and I hope he just walks. Because I think for someone to manage Atletico Madrid amongst Zidane's Real Madrid, Pep's Barcelona, all the managers Barcelona have had, and still be able to try and compete is tough. And, it's very draining. And I don't think what else can he give now? If he wins it after that. Going back to Chelsea, Mason Mount, monster. Apparently, he's player of the season at the moment. You've got Shai Havertz, who's struggling. You're still trying to find Timo. What's the right formula for Chelsea right now? Not just to win. To win this game tonight, what is the right formula for Chelsea?
So the problem with this game is Mason Mount suspended, and so is Jorginho. That he's suspended as well. So those two can't play. I think the only thing we can do now is we do what we did against Everton, the game we won quite convincingly, where we had the front three of Kai Havertz, who was a false nine, Timo Werner, and Callum Hudson-Odoi, and they were running Everton ragged in that game. Obviously, the defense remained practically the same. Those guys look good. Obviously, our midfield, I think Jorginho might have been in that game, but obviously there's Kante as well, and Kante's starting to look like the old Kante again. The reason why he struggled is because the two previous manager, Lampard and Sarri, have overused him, played him through injuries, things like that. And when you do that to players, you're going to run them to the ground. They're not going to be the same players anymore. Since Tuchel's come in, he's used them sparingly. Tuchel's trusted in his squad, so he would let Kante rest. If Kante doesn't feel, he might feel a little discomfort. He'll be like, "No, you don't need to play. You can sit on the bench, or you can, he won't be in a squad, innit?" So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go with the same thing same team we went with against Everton. Mason Mount didn't play in that game anyway. If we go with that, then we should be able to win the game. A lot of Chelsea fans try to make it seem like if Chelsea play without Mason Mount, they're not going to win. But if you look at although it's a small sample size, you look at the games this season that Mason Mount haven't played, Chelsea have won all of them.
So
they've
what
won
you're
every
saying
game.
that Mason Mount is the problem then? If
No,
Chelsea
I
need
don't
to
think.
move
No.
forward. If Chelsea need to
Nah.
move forward, they need to sell Mason Mount. Is that what you're saying?
No, that is not what I said.
Clip it.
I said that he's good. He's good, but we can win. We can still win without him. No, he's important. He's an important player. He's probably our player of the year. I think I used to say, what do you call it? I think I used to say Thiago Silva was the player of the year, but considering he hasn't played the last, let's say, month or so, because of the number of games, he shouldn't be in contention anymore, innit? So obviously Mason Mount automatically wins the player of the year, innit? But
do you think he wins it because he's English?
No, he's been our best. He's been our best and most consistent player this season, barring Thiago Silva, innit? It's as simple as that. A lot of people get onto him. I think part of it is because he's English, but part of it also is that Lampard was just playing him every game. Like we will go against a League Two side in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup or whatever, and Lampard will still play Mason Mount. It's still like, come on, like you're burning the kid into the ground. Like you see what happened with Liverpool. They've been playing the same players for the past 3 seasons.
Yeah,
you know, you're gonna burn them out, and then they're gonna pick up a serious injury. Sometimes you have to use your head and drop players at times for their own good. If you want to get the best out of them over a long period of time. But if you're using them, Mason Mount last season played something like 50 or 60 games, something crazy like that. Like, come on. You're going to kill this guy, man. Do you know what I mean?
Rotation. Kendall, is there any Chelsea players that you're worried about? Actually, genuinely worried about? To be like, I hope he doesn't get on the ball. Because we've seen their summer transfer. They basically bought a new 7-a-side team and a sub. So, like, no one is performing outstandingly well. Okay, we've said Mason Mount there. He's probably been the best player, which is probably factual compared to all the new signings and so on. So tonight, obviously, you expect all the big players. We know the cliches. The big players come to the biggest stage. Are you worried about any of these players at all?
If players step up as far as I would say Alonso and Christensen did, because I think their form has picked up since that particular first leg. Then I mean, pretty much everybody I'm worried about. If that's going to be the step up, that's going to be the step up. But Werner doesn't worry me finishing, because I don't think he worries anyone with his finishing. But his pace worries me a lot. Which is something that I feel like he probably can put to use. Again, if Giroud plays, he is again obviously going to be a worry regardless.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very. If it's not a defense that I'm worried about, because we need a goal, because that is obviously where my worries are going to lie hugely. Yeah. Because they did have such a good first game. I'm just hoping that maybe.
Do you think they had such a? Did you think they had? Because I remember I watched the game. Do you think they had such a good game, or do you think Atletico played bad? Because I personally thought Atletico played bad. Personally,
I think it was a mixture of both, because we actually didn't have a shot on target. So there was that, but aside from that, they made it difficult to do that anyway. And we didn't get really into the game till about the 70th minute. I don't think, in my opinion, like after. I think it was just defend at that point. There was some stupid fouls. The referee was a bit shit as well, let's be honest. Giving like a yellow card in the first minute, like that's just dumb. And obviously it's affected Chelsea massively for that reason. I think he was a bit rubbish, but I think it was a mixture of both, because I don't think that it's fair to say that Chelsea only won because we were so bad. Because it wasn't the case. Obviously, the goal was amazing. As I say, the defense were really, really good. So yeah, I don't think it was really fair, but I do think it was probably a mixture of both. The fact that Atleti weren't on their A game at all, there was players missing, and obviously helped Chelsea along. But I don't think it's fair to say that it was only because Atleti were bad, because that's Chelsea were good as well.
Okay, and Monster, what do you think? I know you're going to say, obviously, Chelsea done this, Chelsea done that. So I'm going to ask you this. Is there any player in the Atletico squad right now that would be like, to you, don't pass him the ball? Because we know Suarez is on form right now. I don't like him as a person, but as a footballer, you have to talk to him because he has world-class talent. Are you worried that this guy's going to turn up today? and do the
it's a bit
celebration that he does.
If there's anyone that I would be worried about, yeah, it would be Suarez. It would be what do you call it? What's his name? Joao Felix. Even Carrasco and Marcos Llorente. They are talented guys, isn't it? But with the way we play, listen, it's not by coincidence that Chelsea have practically limited teams to like all the teams we play so far. We limited them to probably less. We played what 13 games. We probably can just shots on target is probably less than 15. That's not by coincidence. Do you get what I mean? That tells you that it's not that these teams are not playing bad. It's that Chelsea are limiting their chances to
100%.
do you know what I mean? They're limiting them, so teams can't play the way they want to play. Atletico Madrid can't necessarily play they want to play anyway, innit? So I don't think that's Chelsea. I don't think that's Atletico. I think that's just Chelsea, innit? Because we're smothering them. You know, when Suarez wants to pick up the ball, Rudiger's there to kick him off it. Do you know what I mean? And Rudiger's not going to take nonsense from him. When Joao Felix is on the ball, there's Azpilicueta there. There's Christensen there as well. So you know, and there's going to be Kante there as well. So that's just
hella confident monster. Hella confident. Confident.
It's do you know what I mean? Like normally before I used to be scared of the way our defenders are performing, but since Tuchel's come in, he's put trust in them. You know, trust that Lampard didn't have in none of these players. Lampard made us feel like these players were dead. Do you get what I mean? But I didn't think so because some of these guys are Premier League winners, they're Europa League winners. There's a couple Champions League winners in there from previous teams. These guys have won things. They're professional players. So if you can't get the best out of them, maybe the problem is you and not the players themselves, innit? But also, you know, there's Thiago Silva as well. I'm not sure if he's fit for this game, but there's so many players that can give that make me feel like, you know what, Atletico Madrid's attack don't necessarily worry me too much, innit? Because we're not going to play to their strengths. Like when they play, the reason why they're top of the La Liga, they play, you know, gung ho. Everyone comes out and they express themselves type of football. Atletico Madrid are the only type of Premier League style of team in the La Liga, innit? Hence why they can do what they're doing, innit? But we're not. I don't think we're going to allow them to do it. Like, but we'll see in the game, innit?
So basically, excuse me, it's an easy win.
I ain't gonna say it's no. I ain't gonna say it's an easy.
Because I mean, what I heard from what you said, Kendall, don't know if you heard that. I heard we got Champions League winners, we got Player of the Season, we got league title winners, we got some big boys, we got a whole Thiago Silva. So I'm hearing easy.
Nah, you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say easy. I'm just saying. You asked me if I'm necessarily scared of their attackers. I mean, we saw in the last game, we saw how Rudiger dealt with Suarez. Like this Suarez is great and all, but this is not the same old Suarez of Liverpool or his early stint in Barcelona. So when you're coming up against a guy like Rudiger who's on form, he's not going to necessarily struggle to catch Suarez. Like you saw it in the first leg. Every time Suarez had the ball, Rudiger was up in his face. Do you know what I mean? Sticking it to him, innit? So that's why I'm just like, you know what? I'm not necessarily too worried about Suarez because it's not the same Suarez we all know and we all fear, innit? Do you know what I mean?
No, that's good. That's good. Okay, listen, let's wrap it up. Obviously, lunchtime preview. Kendall, I'm going to ask you your score predictions. You don't have to tell me who's going to score. What's your score predictions?
2-1 Atleti. That's what I've said for the past 5 streams that I've been on. So yeah, got to back it. Honestly, I've been all over Chelsea YouTube this week. Everyone's going to be hating on us and sick of us, but it is what it is. I think I must be the only like Atleti fan that a lot of people know. So.
Do you know, it's funny, isn't it, though? But like, obviously, we spoke about obviously your affiliations with them and stuff, and you know, it's funny, isn't it, that people try and judge and be like, you can't support them because you live where you live. It's just like, well, no, that isn't the case. So no, go you. 2-1 Monster. What are you saying?
1-0 Chelsea.
Really? You're not conceding?
Yeah, I don't see us conceding, man. I don't think people understand how good our defense is right now. I don't think people understand. We probably got like right now, maybe. I mean, in the last 15 games or so, we've had probably the best defense in Europe. Do you get what I mean? In terms of our defensive record.
So potential Champions League winners, yeah?
I don't mean potential Champions League winners because we're still not scoring. So that's the problem as well, isn't it?
He's desperate for you to say something that he can clip.
You get what I mean? Like,
I personally think, I think it's going to be a cagey game until the 65th minute. Because I think it's going to be 0-0. And then come the 65th minute, we're going to start seeing people start committing forward, leaving gaps. And I think that's when it's going to come out. I'm going to say, like, my head and my heart really wants Chelsea to get beat because I want to troll Charlotte. I want to troll Prime. I want to troll Gem. I want to troll Monster. But that being said, I do think do you know what it is? I just think Atletico, Champions League, chips are down. Like they have to win this game. It's just Simeone all over it. Do you know what I mean? Like we all know the celebration. It's like they're just gonna give their all, blood, sweat, and tears. So I think they will concede because Chelsea are jammy like that. But I think they will win, and I think I'm gonna go with a 3-1. Because the reason I'm saying 3, I know I've, you know what I mean.
That made me heart went a bit like.
The reason I say that, I just think if Atletico put it on them, stick it on them, we've got players. I say we like I support them, but they've got players that can score like from 20 yards, 25 yards out, that can beat a man and so on. And yes, you have got a good defense, but I do think in the back of your head, Chelsea are already thinking we're already up anyway. And we all know Champions League, like 1-goal deficit is probably one of the most dangerous deficits ever. So for me, I'll be hopeful 3-1. But if Chelsea get beat, I'm gonna be noisy tonight on the Twitter, on the social media. Listen.
If we concede first, like again, the tie's over. It's done. We're not coming back from that at all. I mean, I know you're going to have to score more anyway, but regardless, the tie's done. We're just not coming back from that. If we 100%. Don't and we score again, it's 1-1. I genuinely think it could be anyone's tie.
Listen. All I'm going to say to you, if it gets to 1-1, I'm texting you both, be like, with the eyes.
I can't. I'll be like this.
1. I mean, listen. 2. At the end of the day, it can only be 3 results. It could be a win to Chelsea, a draw, or a win to Atletico, wouldn't it? Now, two of those results means Chelsea go through. So if Chelsea draw, or if we win, we go through. Atletico literally have to win this game, and they have to win it. They have to score more than 1 goal as well.
That's what I'm saying.
They've got to score more than 1. If it's 1-0, it goes to extra time and penalties. If it's obviously if they win anything more than that, 2-1, whatever, then they go through in it on away goals, or they go through regardless in it. So Chelsea literally have to hold their own. They've got to hold their own. Innit?
And I'll be so annoyed if Chelsea go 2-0 up after half an hour. I'll literally just watch Netflix. I'll just watch Netflix.
I can't deal with football this year, mate.
We just got to play smart. Like I think we all know. Like Tuchel will know anyway. Listen, they've got to come out and win at some point. All that 6 at the back they did in the last game, where they had Thomas Lamar defending against Callum Hudson-Odoi the whole game, they cannot do that this time around. They've got to commit. They've got to bring these men forward. And that's where I'm like, if Atletico come forward, they're not a team that usually come forward like that. So if they have to commit, that's where we can hurt them. That's where we can hurt them, innit?
100%. Well, thank you both for coming on. Just gonna obviously, you two are very popular, for obviously the right reasons, but unfortunately recently it was for the wrong reasons, and it was just basically to say that there's no beef. It's been dead. We're all smiles, Colgate teeth, and all. So just want to say thank you both for coming on.
No worries, man.
Thank you for obviously being the people that you are and being honest. And I hope that whoever watches this, whenever you watch it, stop beefing, stop trying to trigger people, because we're all adults here, and what you see on the screens, you do not see what happens behind the screens. Okay. So listen. That being said,
Vegan
thank you so
things
much
only,
for
guys.
what are you saying, Kendall?
Said vegan things only, guys.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. No Oreos. Hashtag no Oreos. So listen, thank you so much for coming on. People that are watching, it's actually private right now, so it will drop on YouTube tonight, around tea time probably. So yeah, look out for that. But listen, Monster, thank you so much for coming on. Kendall, thank you so much for coming on. Kendall, can you please shout out your socials?
Yeah, just Kendall Run on all socials. Obviously you'll catch me over on the Football Terrace, Midnight Vibes, and my show on a Friday as well.
Monster.
Yeah. Monster CFC literally on everything. I normally do an afternoon show every day and watch alongs during the week. Yeah.
Big up. Are you doing watch along tonight, Monster?
Of course. Of course. One of the
I
biggest
might be in
games
the
of the
comments.
season.
I might be in the comments. I might be in the comments. You never know. But listen, brilliant show. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate both of you, 100%. Peace and love to everyone. Thank you for watching.